Congratulations on purchasing the Improved Sound Macro Pack for Audacity. If you have not purchased this macro yet, I suggest you buy the EQs in Macro Pack, which also includes the macros I will show you about. In addition to these macros, it has some excellent EQs for Audacity. You would have 2 TXT files if you purchased the Info Sound Macro Pack. Using any of these 2 macros, you can make the sound better in a single click. I will show you how to set up these macros, how to use them, and how far you can go with these macros. Some ask whether it has everything you need to produce a final audio. I will explain that. These macros work on Windows, Mac, and Linux. If your machine can run Audacity, these macros will work. You will get a zip file after you purchase and download the macro. Unzip the file, and you will get 2 files in the folder. To install these macros, go to Audacity. From the Tools menu, go to Macro Manager. You have to import those TXT files. Click on Import and browse to the location on those files. You have to import each file separately. Select a TXT file and open. You have to repeat this import process for another file. You can see 2 new macros have been added to the list, Improve Sound Macro and Level and Improve Macro. I will close the Macro Manager. You can check if the macros are installed properly from the Apply Macro button. Your newly installed macros should appear in the list. Both the Improve Sound Macro and Level and Improve Macro is appealing on the list. I will be using Level and Improve Macro for this demo. This macro takes care of uneven recordings. Uneven recordings mean where you have talked quite loud in some parts than the rest or relatively low than the rest. Level and Improve Macro also works with regular recording where you have spoken in constant loudness. So you can use the Level and Improve Macro for every situation. If you have a recording where you need to maintain the dynamics of recording too strictly, use the Improve Sound Macro. I mainly use the Level and Improve Macro, which works better in most situations. I will improve this recording. How much improvement you want or how precise you want depends on the platform you are using the audio. I will use a tool named ACX Check to measure the improvement. You will find a link in the description if you do not know what ACX Check is. In short, it is a standard that audiobook narrators have to follow, and it is a very high standard. You can confidently submit the audio anywhere if you can achieve ACX standards for your recording. I ran the ACX check on the unprocessed raw recording. On the raw recording, the peak level and RMS level failed, and the noise level passed. I will process the audio using the macro and then again check where it stands in the ACX standard. I will duplicate the audio to compare between original and improved audio. After selecting the whole track, go to Edit and Duplicate. I will rename the top track to the original. I will improve the bottom track using the macro. Select the track and go to Tools. From Apply Macro, select the macro you want to use. I can either apply Improve Sound Macro or Level and Improve Macro. The audio has improved instantly, as you can see from the waveform. We will listen to it before checking if the improved audio meets the ACX requirements. We will listen to the original and improved audio to check the difference.
In this lecture, we learn the proper sequence of effects to clean the audio. So far, I have used 2 groups of effects. The first group of effects is followed in traditional voiceover works. In this lecture, we learn the proper sequence of effects to clean the audio. So far, I have used 2 groups of effects. The first group of effects is followed in traditional voiceover works. The second group of effects is followed for a specific work, like ACX submission. Of course, you can follow any of these groups or mix effects from one another to get the desired output. You should have clarity on.
It is a huge improvement in the listening experience. The improved audio is good enough to use as a voiceover or podcast. If you check through ACX, you see the noise floor has failed while the peak and RMS passed. The macro I developed does not fix the noise. Because including noise reduction in the macro will make the process complex. Different audio has a different kind of noise, and the user needs to select a noise profile before applying the macro. Different audio also needs different noise reduction settings. It is easier to find noise reduction settings after running the macro. If multiple checks fail in the ACX check, you have to fix it from the bottom. So you have to fix noise first, then RMS, and then peak level. In this case, I only need to fix the noise. The noise we see is slight, and if I use this audio on YouTube, it will be okay without noise reduction. However, we are learning how to make the audio quality as good as ACX check, so I will apply noise reduction. The current noise is at -53, and I need to get to -60. So a 7 dB noise reduction will be enough. I will select a noise sample and go to the noise reduction effect. I assume you already know how to apply Audacity noise reduction, so not explaining the details. I will select everything and go to the noise reduction effect again. The best noise reduction setting is a value of 6 on all these sliders. I need a 7 dB reduction to pass the ACX check, so I will set it to 7. The noise reduction is done, and we can check where it now stands with the ACX check. Please remember, after applying an effect, the ACX check can show new issues. You have to take an action based on the situation. All 3 ACX check is passed. So this audio now meets high-quality standards. You also need to listen to the audio to check if everything sounds okay.
In this lecture, we learn the proper sequence of effects to clean the audio. So far, I have used 2 groups of effects. The first group of effects is followed in traditional voiceover works. The second group of effects is followed for a specific work.
This audio is now perfect, and we will see this macro in another piece of recording. Different audio has different kinds of audio signals, so this macro has to work with multiple kinds of recording. I will improve this piece of recording, and once again, I will duplicate the track. You actually do not need to duplicate the track to apply the macro. I am doing it for the comparison with the original. You can directly apply the macro on your track. I will apply the same level and improve macro. The audio is improved, and I will check the ACX requirements. This audio also failed in the noise floor but passed in peak and RMS. The noise of this recording is lower than the previous recording. Even you can get away without doing any kind of noise reduction if you can set up your recording environment right. I will need to reduce the noise for this audio to pass the ACX check. I will apply a noise reduction of 6 dB as that will easily pass the noise floor check. The noise in RMS passed, but after applying noise reduction, the peak failed. Fixing the peak is easy, you have to apply normalize. Go to normalize effect and set the peak amplitude to -3. The peak amplitude is the volume of the loudest part of the audio. All 3 have passed, and let's listen and compare.
So, for example, why are you working out, or why are you working on your relationship? Envision yourself fitting into those jeans you want to be wearing as a result of your goal, or really envisioning how amazing it would be to be happier in your relationship. Get clear on what you are wanting. So, for example, why are you working out, or why are you working on your relationship? Envision yourself fitting into those jeans you want to be wearing as a result of your goal, or really envisioning how amazing it would be to be happier in your relationship. Get clear on what you are wanting. So then it's easier to see what steps you need to take to get you there. Okay, last one, and this would work more for the...
So you see how easy improving the audio using the macro is. It made the process of passing the ACX check easier. So far, all my recordings have either failed in noise or peak. If it failed in RMS, I would have used loudness normalization. If you have a query after purchasing the macros, please contact me at biz.master.editor@gmail.com. I recommend buying the EQs in Macro Pack if you have not purchased the macros yet. If you want to know details of the effects I applied to build such a wonderful macro, I have a course on that. The audio cleanup course explains the details step by step. It is beginner-friendly course for those who know nothing or little about audio editing. Even if you know about audio editing, you can take your knowledge level to a higher standard. After that, producing clean audio will become a piece of cake for you. If you want to learn about audio cleanup in depth, please enroll.